gotta miss a month or so. Usually there's nothing earth-shattering there.
I felt bad one time, I was cutting my grass at like 10 o'clock and it just dawned on me, I had a meeting at 8 o'clock. I was like, shit.
A little late there.
When you have to get 3 girls out the door, you know that. It's just like your mind is, and you're not usually here.
Yeah.
So I barely remember to pick them up from gymnastics. So I have to set alarms to remind me. Are you still at Mayo?
Yeah.
How is it?
Kind of tumultuous right now.
And mostly I don't care if it's my project.
Changes going on.
Didn't like leadership.
Yeah.
I felt they were shady.
I'm kind of waiting this out with Ferrugia.
Going for 3 more years?
I don't think so. Everything I've heard is he's not getting renewed.
So I questioned him really bad one time, and he really got angry, I think, because I said, there's no hard concrete, like, performance measures here. Like, what are you striving to achieve? You just say hold forward. There's no, like, stuff just disappeared, like the whole Discovery Code Center. It just disappeared.
Good, it's been a long time since I've seen you.
That whole Abu Dhabi thing, it just disappears. No one talks about it.
Just no success record. Hey, Kelly.
Morning.
Am I in the right one?
So Kelly, about 6 weeks ago on an icy morning, me and another vehicle like almost collided
Chris
on
is not here today.
Valley High, and I thought it was you. It wasn't you? Did you hit the median or anything?
No.
Early in the morning? Okay. Because all of a sudden, it was a sheet of ice, and no one was on it, no one knew, and we were coming to the roundabout, and then everybody just starts going like this, and I actually swerved into the lane, and I think the lady went around me and smashed into it. And I thought it was you. She looked at me like I did something wrong, and I'm like, hey.
You're like, hey, man.
It's like,
No, they're fine.
we were all...
Nope, thankfully not me, yeah.
Is it? how do you get
Okay,
to
and
it?
where am I getting into it? Oh, I legislate, maybe? Nope. Oh.
I got it.
Oh,
Okay.
well,
Actually, that might not be it.
No, we're not in this anymore.
We're not on that. You gotta go to Safari.
Safari.
Just type in
I have the
ByronMN.com.
packet pulled up
look
here.
at you.
Oh, I got it. It's right
You
here.
can log
Okay,
in,
sweet.
your own personal login that you created, and if you make notes.
Yeah, that would mean I'd have to remember it.
Yeah.
I mean, my computer remembers it for me,
I
but if
just
I'm on
typed
a...
in 6 numbers and it works. so-
Yeah, well, to get into the thing,
got
but
it.
then to get into diligent, do you know how to do that?
No.
People think I can remember 100. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. We're good? Okay.
Ready.
Wonderful. Well, let's call, what is the date today? It is the February 17th Byron Economic Development Authority meeting to order. Agenda. We need a motion to approve the agenda if there are no additions or questions.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Perfect. Okay. Minutes from the last meeting. Was it really September?
It was.
I was like, was that a typo there or what? But, wow, okay. So if you've looked through those, any corrections or changes, okay? We have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. Wonderful. Okay, communications reports, petitions, Al, we'll let you buzz through those.
Kelly, if you want to scroll through that. Council minutes, there's been a few. Planning and zoning. I think the most interesting thing there is the Tompkins property being rezoned to commercial, which is a positive. Our ever-present and excellently presented community newsletter, Greta. And budget, there's no real budget discussion at this point. We did put into the budget the standard donations, if you will, that the EDA makes. We'll discuss some of that here coming up, so.
Wonderful. Any questions, anybody? Okay. No public hearing today, so on to unfinished business, the revolving loan policy, revolving fund loan policy.
Kelly has been working on the revolving loan fund policy. It is very outdated. I know we talked about it briefly. She has sent out some suggestions limiting the working capital to 25% of the total project. I think the couple of things to keep in mind, our current fund balance in there today is $170,000. We believe there should be a cap on how much, as opposed to just leaving it wide open. Unless you want the flexibility of doing one project, you know, it's kind of a one and done if you want to do that. Generally, there would be a cap on it. I don't know what that number is today. If you've got any feelings on how much
Mean
that
a
would be.
cap per project?
Cap per project,
Okay.
for how much are we willing to loan out? This is not the primary debt. This would be secondary, it might be a third position debt. This is just the gap financing to make a project work when everything else is been utilized and we're still short.
So we did have a cap on it, it was 15,000.
Correct.
On the old policy. The recommended one originally removed all of that, but you're saying
Well, we
should have a cap in there.
I want to be careful. We did feel like 15,000 was useless.
Yeah,
I mean,
Understood.
that's just not enough to really make a difference. Al did not feel like there should be a cap. Some of my staff feels pretty strongly that there should be. And I don't want to disagree with them. I understand what they're saying. And so really it comes down to how does the EDA board feel about having a cap? Do you want a stated cap, self-imposed, that is unofficial? I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. From my standpoint, we don't know what projects might come down. If I put a cap on it, I'm tying my hands. If there is a cap on it, we have to live with it. I totally understand it. We're saying we want to be able to do more than one project.
I was going to ask a question. Can you put a cap but also have an exception process in there?
You can. I'd rather have no cap at all and just self-impose our cap. I mean,
why do we need a cap? Like, here's my thing, we're in control of the money, we know it's in the pot. If we say, oh, you're applying for this loan, and we say as a group, great, we're willing to give you this, but we don't want to shackle the entire amount that we have, we're willing to give X amount towards your project.
How does the money get repopulated back in there? Let's say we loan 60,000. Is
It
that
gets-
just budget?
as the loan is repaid, it goes back into that fund.
Okay. Yeah,
So-
but the cap part kind of bothers me because let's say it's the end of the year and we haven't tapped into there, we're restricting ourselves to $30,000 for something that, like you mentioned, is maybe we would need to get them 50, 60. Having that cap on there, I don't think
Yeah,
that's-
I just don't understand, I mean, I understand I guess if you're looking at some kind of protection, but the board is ultimately,
we got to prove it.
we're approving it, and so we can say, here's what we have in,
Mm-hmm.
do we want to use it all, do we want to leave some in there for somebody else?
Right.
We can approve a certain amount, even though they're asking for more, we can say,
Mm-hmm.
here's what we're willing to give you, take it or leave it, kind of a thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, is that correct, or am I,
You are always able to put your own self-imposed cap on it. What is the value of the project?
right,
What are the terms of the project that
Right.
make you feel like you should do more or less? So that always exists. It's
think
whether or
with
not our policy says, here's our limit. Jamie's point, yes, we could have an exception to that, but then we're always dancing around that exception.
right.
Too low, yes. Yeah, but
I think we got a good enough EDA here with representation to manage the dollars ourselves. I really do.
How often do we use this?
I don't know, I think it was used back in 2010. Oh, okay.
And
I
I think.
have no idea that
And I
it's
don't
ever
think
been
people know
used.
we have it available.
Right.
Right, so I mean, it's a lack of marketing, this option, and like Al said, $15,000, that's not making or breaking your project, right? That might cover
Right.
some,
We,
due diligence fees, but that's not going to do anything.
We've had two people ask about it. With 15,000, it's not worth the
No,
paperwork.
and I agree with that.
Right.
Right, let people know this is, you know,
Have
available.
170 in there, you said? 170? Okay. I would say no cap.
Yeah, I agree.
Motion on that, or is that just,
We're going to adopt the policy, and we'll just reflect that.
okay.
We also have interest rate, and right now it's at prime minus 0.5%. The question is whether or not that's considered a low-interest loan. Is that the right number? Do we want to be truly low interest? You know, prime, the reason we use the prime rate is to go with the times. What is the interest rate today?
Yep.
But I don't know that I have a good answer for you there.
Where's Chris when you
I
need him?
know, I would have deferred to him.
What does SBA charge?
I-
You know what SBA charges on their loans?
I'm not sure where SBA is at right now. I wouldn't be able to answer that
Okay.
off the top of my head. I think that minus 0.5%, minus 1%, anywhere in there is fair. I think I would feel better if you put a floor on it to say not less than
Yeah,
2%.
Yeah,
I would agree.
And I wouldn't say
Something.
that, except not very many years ago, prime was at 0.4, so.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
And what is prime today?
I think it's, what, 3.55?
Oh, then that is definitely a low, we're good if you're looking for a low interest rate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember right off today now, but prime minus anything is a decent
Decent.
Yeah.
Agreed.
rate.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
6.75.
6.75 today, yep. But if you go in for commercial loan, like they're saying SBA is probably going to be over 7. I mean, according to Google.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, so, you know, it's going to be lower than what they're going to get at an institution, so.
And we are not a bank, we are not in the position to give away free money for that, you know, for the most part, so, again, it's up to you as far as if you want to stay at 0.5% or a full percent under prime, you know, either way. It's a nice number, but I would put a floor of, again, I think 2%.
Right, right.
Agreed.
I like it. Good?
Yeah.
The rest of the policy is mostly housekeeping. I know that, Jamie, you put a lot of time into comments. Thank you for that. But those would be the highlights of, I think, the updating our policy.
Okay, so we would probably need a motion to approve the policy with a no cap provision or a
And the
self-imposed
inter-
cap
and the interest
provision.
rate.
And the interest.
And the
Both of
interest
them,
rate,
interest rate
correct,
too.
yep.
I'll make a motion to approve what she just said.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
I could have reset
Any
it, but-
opposed?
Kelly, you have enough on that?
Motion passes.
Okay.
So current updated policy. Okay. I think it's, yeah. Perfect. Okay. New business, election of officers.
Always a fun topic.
Isn't this fun? I'm usually the one on vacation when we do this, so,
Well, we missed a month, so.
yeah. So Chris would be moving into chair position then, is that what you're saying? Historically, what's happened, okay? What I like about it is it takes the thinking out of, like,
Right.
you know, and And it provides consistency along the board, right? Someone who's been here is now moving into chair. If the
Yeah.
chair leaves the board in any way or anybody, we still have consistency, right? So there's one position that at least stays and moves on. That's just that's pretty typical.
Have to change it yearly?
That's totally up to the board.
Do you want to change it, Kelly? Would you like to change it?
To not be the chair?
Yeah.
I don't care.
That's what's, if someone's there and they're not saying you enjoy it, but they're okay with it, why do we just keep rotating? We'll get to the point we're gonna run out of rotation. So if the person's there.
Well, the point behind it is so that one person isn't running the show forever and a day, right? So I don't think we have I mean, that's typically why they have those provisions in place, right? So that you have a change at least every couple years so that someone isn't pushing their own personal agenda or whatever, or kind of controlling a board in general across, if we're just talking about boards in general. So this is a pretty typical thing that, your chair, your vice would move in. Some positions like secretary or treasurer will hold for like a 2-year time frame. Some don't. I mean, I think we can design it however we want, but what do our bylaws say, or what do our?
We had Mickey and then we had Stacy, right? And then it was you.
Yeah, I don't know that we have a formal, we have to do it one way or the other. That is a standard to rotate it. But I don't know that you're stuck with one process.
Sure. When do our positions come up for re-election or reappointment, or however you want to call it? In 26, okay.
We talking about like council members?
No.
No,
Our
no, our
positions
EDA
here.
board positions have
So
to be
then you vote, like
reappointed.
if I want to stay on it, you would all have to vote to say
Yeah.
Kelly can stay on it.
Chri-
Who?
Chris, Shawn, and Jamie expire this year.
Okay,
Is that on election day or what day?
Yeah, what day?
That happens
end of the year.
end of year, right?
Okay, okay.
So then we usually do a reappointment, like what, October, November-ish or whatever, or?
December,
Okay, okay,
whenever we get it to the council, but
Yeah.
yes.
okay.
So the only question I have is, as you're thinking about it, and I'm not going completely in left field here, we have kind of taken a stance of meeting when we have something to discuss versus meeting every month. And we can make stuff up, but we generally try and make a meeting worthwhile.
I love that.
We have seen,
Yeah.
I appreciate that. We have seen a little bit more struggle in our attendance, and that would be my one concern. Is if the meetings aren't significant, this is an important board, it's very important to us, and we're trying to honor time. But if we're creating an atmosphere where it feels like it's not significant, I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
And if that's part of our challenge with attendance, I have to come back and ask you. Now, we did change the meeting times. Most of our absences have not been reflecting the meeting times. Brian would be one that could be caught up in that because he gets into work and then he gets busy and cannot get away. Otherwise, all of our absences have been people not being in town. It has not been a matter of, hey, if you met at 6:30 or if you met at 7 o'clock, it would change my world. And again, Brian would be the only one that might fall into that right now. So, but I'm just coming back to you saying, look, with our lower attendance, do we have to change something about how often we meet, if that makes a difference, or do we just say, stay when we have something to discuss?
I think it'd be less intrusive to keep it only as needed,
Yeah,
because
I agree. I don't look at these meetings as less important. If we haven't had one in a couple months, I almost feel like the next one is really important that we're there, or whatever, because we haven't had one. So,
With with that in mind and looking at our current attendance, I'd make a suggestion that you consider Jamie as chair, because he has been here and he's pretty consistent. But that's up to the board.
I would not be up for that in
You
my
would not
current
be up for that?
situation.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, it would not work, unfortunately, with my schedule.
Okay.
So,
Fair enough.
Good to know.
Well,
Like the options are Kelly or Chris.
yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, and I am not of the, I guess, the position of putting someone in a position when they're not here. So I am more than happy to retain the position for 2026, that's fine. I am also very okay if you vote for Chris to make the natural transition into chair. I mean, I don't know if, he's been on it long enough to know that I think between him and I, we've held the chair position probably more than most people. So I don't think it will matter, but whatever. I'm good with whatever.
I'm good with keeping it the way it is. I don't see any issue with doing that.
I suggest a motion to that effect.
I'll make a motion to keep it the
Second.
way it is for 2026.
second.
Any questions or discussion before we vote on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, so we'll just say the current slate stays as is? Or were we just talking about the chair?
No, all.
We can keep the
all-
whole
I did all
slate.
three. The whole position.
All slate, okay. Okay. Does Shawn do, I mean, there's probably not a whole lot for him to do. Okay, it's just more by title. Okay.
He's just third in line, basically.
Right,
Yeah.
correct.
Gotcha, yep. Okay, RAEDI contribution. Good old John.
I apologize. Attached is a note from John Wade.
Yes,
That's fine.
yes,
RAEDI has asked for
5,000.
their continued $5,000 contribution. This has always been a bit of a discussion. I will tell you, full disclosure, I was appointed to the RAEDI board representing our community councils, which is the small cities around the Rochester Metro, as their representative on the RAEDI board. I think there's some things that RAEDI has to make changes with, and I've started that process. I've been pretty vocal with John about what that entails. Simple things like, what is the point of view and what is your strategic direction? And so I guess at this point, I would recommend paying the dues for this year. It is in the budget as such. But I will tell you, it's, my involvement, and I think Byron's involvement has to be watched very closely to find out where are we going. Because to this point, we've ebbed and flowed. I know Jana started a process that ended up in this communities council being formed, and then it got pretty weak, and we're trying to change that. And so from that standpoint, if you're willing to, I don't take it lightly. I think it's a matter of what are we getting out of it, and if we can't get some strong direction from where they're going. I wasn't able to do it from the communities council, so if I can't do it from the board, I think then we have to make a decision.
I think if Al wasn't on the board now, I would say no.
I would too.
You come up with something, then we'll get the 5,000 back. But since he's on there, I think there'll be some highlighting our needs. I feel comfortable for 1 year to do the 5 and use that as, not over his head, but say, hey, you got to, this is a struggle to get the 5. So you got to prove to us how you're helping us. But with Al being on there, I think we'll get a good spotlight on it a little better.
Right. I agree.
Well, there has to be a purpose. And to this point, I've struggled with that, and I've been very open. I'm not talking behind anybody's back. I've had these conversations with Mr. Wade. But again, I think it would only be fair to give it the year. And every year we say it's going to be 1 year, and we keep working at it, but we do have to get something more structured than what we have.
Right.
Your position, it's on this, you said a community council?
I am the I guess unofficially, I'm the chair of the Communities Council, which is
Okay.
the smaller communities in the region.
Okay.
We meet monthly, and we take that information, I take that back to the full RAEDI board, and then I sit on the RAEDI board for this year as
Okay.
one of their board members. It's primarily business people that make up this board, largely or heavily influenced by Rochester.
Yeah.
But the communities that are involved have to be represented, and that's the Communities Council.
So how does the rest of the council feel? I mean, are they in the same camp as we are? Like, we're not really seeing the ROI on this investment.
When you say the council,
Like, well, there's small communities. How do the rest of the other smaller communities feel?
I will tell you, I think it's split. I think it's considered by some, a necessity to be involved. We have to be engaged. I understand that, and I guess that's the way I approached it, whatever, 3.5 years ago when I got here, saying, we have to participate, right?
Right, it's obligatory, so to speak, yeah.
But at some point, there has to be something coming back.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm really struggling with what's coming back.
If we didn't pay it, how would that impact your position?
Well, I'd have to be off the board. I'd
Okay.
have to resign.
Okay.
And if that's where the EDA goes, I guess I get a couple hours back a month that I think
Basically.
I think the purpose of RAEDI could be positive, but I think that they're floundering on their direction right now. I think that they're really struggling with who they want to be when they grow up, and
And their focus will always be Rochester.
It
No
will
matter
always.
what fluff we hear, it will always be Rochester.
And the fact is, this whole conversation of a regional development organization that is still going on has some impact on that as well. If it came down to we have to pick between one or the other, a regional development organization is far more significant in what they have the opportunity to offer us.
Right.
And
Al, for this year, because I know Al, at the end of the year, and we ask this again next year, him being on a year will say, no. So we'll get his honest opinion after that.
Yeah,
we'll get a pretty good read on it.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
yeah. Well then, do we have a motion to approve the donation this year?
Motion to approve the donation for this year.
Okay, any second?
Second?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes for the $5,000 donation to RAEDI. And then another donation, City of Byron, we did $1,000 last year for the Community Foundation donation. I mean, I think this is a foundation that, provides support to Byron area.
Yeah.
I think having the city behind that is not a bad
Yeah.
thing.
No, it's a
So,
good idea.
any questions or concerns with that?
No.
Okay, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the Byron Community Foundation donation.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? Wonderful. Motion passes for the Community Foundation donation for $1,000. Awesome. Economic planning or strategic planning discussion.
So I threw this out here to keep it in front of you. We've just completed the city's strategic planning effort. I appreciate those of you that were able to be here. I can't believe some people went someplace warm instead, but
That's why I'm chair for another year, whatever. Pay my dues in other ways.
no, I do appreciate it. The question that comes back is, do we want to be more intentional about our target markets? Right now, we are kind of seeing what's out there and what's happening as it comes in our door. We're not being real aggressive on a lot of specific targets. There's a couple that we're looking at, but we're not being really, really intentional. And I wanted to put this out there as a thought tool, if you will. Do we want to follow the council's direction, which again doesn't give us a specific target per se, other than housing, and we want to expand our commercial development? But we're not saying, what does commercial look like? And with your permission, I'm going to take the next topic and throw it in on top of this, and this is part of what drives this. There is so much noise out there right now about data centers. We're talking about mega data centers, which are 400 to 1,000 acres. Might get as small as 200 acres for mega centers. And you hear all the lawsuits and the noise that that's creating. They're also moving into micro data centers, which are 40 to 80 acres. Much smaller. They put smaller facilities, but several of them instead of one massive facility. And what is our interest in that? Now, we have not been officially approached at this point. I know that people are kicking the tires in our neighborhood, and it's the type of thing where we could go shaking the tree and find out who's out there and chase them. We could wait for them to come to our door, which will happen because they're every place else. Or we can decide that that doesn't fit our, our model, our goal. But the strategic plan helps staff identify where do we put our effort? What is it that we're trying to find? Because if we're going to chase, I use that lightly, if we're going to recruit specific industries, who are we recruiting?
Well, I will say that I agree that we can be a little bit more aggressive in seeking versus reacting, right? Or waiting. I don't know enough about the data center stuff other than maybe a few things that I've seen, and whether that's accurate or not is that they are not great environmentally. They deplete a lot of natural resources, I understand, and they don't provide a lot of jobs.
Right.
Correct.
Yep.
So that doesn't sound like a good thing for Byron. And from an economic development standpoint, we're looking at bringing businesses that provide jobs and that, I would think so. So unless I just don't have all the information, which I'd be open to hearing more about what they bring to a community, I'm not interested in having a data center here, so.
Well, to come up with acreage too, we don't have the acreage available.
Well,
You'd have to go buy some and then,
everything is about acquiring land.
Correct.
Right.
And so, I mean, we have to take that piece and set it aside. This is assuming that somebody adjoining the community wants to sell them the land. We are part of a very large research project right now that looks at the impact of large utility users, whether it be water or electricity, data centers. What is their impact on our aquifer? What is their impact on our energy
Right.
availability, costs, all those things that tie into it. It's a year-long study, and we're about 4 months, 5 months into it.
is that the one the university's in charge of? That was here?
We're doing that through the University of
They weren't very favorable
Minnesota.
when they were here.
What's that?
They weren't very favorable when it was here, when they had the meeting here, because of the expense, because of this and that, and so they were very cautious.
Well, yes, very cautious. They're working hard to stay objective as they go through their research. But we're studying data centers nationwide. We're studying the aquifer and the impacts on the aquifer. We are looking at all of the electric providers and saying, how does this fit? And we're not looking just at Byron. We happen to be the name on the grant. Stewartville, Byron, and Lewiston partnered on putting this grant together to do the study. But it's too early to have anything substantive to give you. We're also working on that toolbox. What are the questions we ask? What are the zoning rules or policies we put into place to encourage or discourage that kind of development? And again, we're not picking on data centers, although that is clearly the definition of a large energy user, right?
Well, and just the perception, right? Like, you can do the study, you can roll out, let's just say it comes back very positive, it doesn't have the impact, the negative impacts, right? We would really have to do a great job marketing that information, because otherwise you're gonna have a mass exodus of people saying, I'm not living here anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, the schools are great, but how's it gonna affect my property values down the road? And I'd rather get out now before, you know what I mean? Like, so I would really, those would be the questions that I would have is, areas that did bring in a data center, how did it affect housing values? And,
Let's don't be the first,
right,
Well,
or the second, or the 10th.
we're
I think we just
definitely,
need to focus on the commercial, like you said, for hometown Byron, you know.
Small town.
Small town
Yep.
atmosphere. I
And-
just think needs to be pushed off until more stuff comes out, you know, don't commit to anything.
well, not only that, but there's a lot of litigation taking place around, not just the state, but around the nation with this discussion of data centers. Farmington would be a really good example, although Cannon Falls has a very large data center and there's no litigation. Pine Island has a data center approved and there's litigation. So it's all over the place. And where do you put it? You know, the residential question. There are no huge numbers of jobs.
Right.
The question comes into what is the tax base?
Right.
Can we improve the tax base enough to say we're okay with 3 to 5 jobs? And I can spend all afternoon talking about the pros and cons of jobs in our market right now, in our labor market, in Byron versus tax base. Well, that isn't what we need to do. I want you thinking strategically about who are those targets? What do we want to be intentional about? And do we need to sit down and do a planning session to identify that? And I'm asking from a staff perspective because we want to chase the right targets. And again, I use the data center as a example of what's out there.
right.
So,
So I definitely think, I mean, we could sit here and talk about this all day long, right? But I definitely think maybe kind of setting up a separate meeting or a separate, you know, group session to talk about what are some of the target markets that we would want to hit from a commercial standpoint. It would be interesting as the Highway 14 60th project is supposed to be starting this year, what that means for, you know, commercial businesses coming this way. And as we get closer and closer, Byron's going to just really meld into Northwest Rochester, right? So, which can be good and bad, right? I mean, that's going to be great for more commercial needs and more commercial businesses looking at Byron, but eventually, do we all become part of, I mean, that's, you know, that's probably long-term thinking, but, so that should go in, that should be part of that discussion, right? What's already Northwest, commercial-wise? What would be good businesses that we can target now for Byron that would really complement what's not Northwest, right? Because that's really, you can drive 5 miles down the road and you're at West Circle Drive, right, and get what you need. So what don't they have there that we could really target for commercial, right? Not just retail, but just commercial business. I think that would benefit. But I think it would warrant a separate meeting so that we can really be focused on this and kind of have our hit list.
so I'll work on setting up in the next 60 to 90 days, maybe an evening that we can sit down and have a conversation.
Perfect.
I don't think that we have to go through this whole process that the council went through, although it'll look very much like that. Kelly, I know that you've been through that a
Yeah.
couple of times. But we'll go through that process, and I appreciate it. We do need some participation, obviously, to be successful.
For sure.
And I think the chamber gets involved with us too on that, right?
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Well, I think
They need to be at the table too.
the chamber, the council, the EDA, I think that's all
Yeah.
relevant, yes.
Correct.
All right, that covers that topic, and I appreciate it. It's a discussion item, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Shoot.
Okay. Public comments. Good, okay. I don't need to ask 2 more times. I don't know. I'm not on the foundation. Oh,
Are you referring to the economic, that group that we've donated money to? What they,
to another foundation.
Interesting.
that would
Castle.
go with Chad and that group that runs that fund.
I think the foundation is much larger than
Yes.
just Byron.
I think it's a Byron area. I think if you look at their thing, it
Yeah.
says Byron area. that. I think if Chris were here, he might be able to speak
I
to
used to
that,
be
because I
on
think
that.
he's a lot more involved.
I was on that board for 1 year, and I didn't, unfortunately, I was out of town most of the meetings, but they do go through an application process, and they sit down and they discuss yes or no, and so I think there's probably an explanation for why they decided for that one, for sure.
Yeah, interesting. Okay. All right, no other public comments. Let's move to a closed session. Yep.
Do we have to make a
Thanks,
motion?
Greta. So, yeah, we'll do that to open it.
What'd you say, Dan?
Do we have to make a motion to close the
Oh.
public? Okay.
Bye, Greg.